Freed making her first appearance on the Courthouse, and Mr. Matt Desmond off to my right-hand side. The Courthouse case this week, ladies and gentlemen, is last night the Steelers got a nice little whooping there at home against the New England Patriots. Has the injuries finally caught up to them, or is the defense the problem for the Steelers? Mr. Desmond.
I think it's actually a little bit both. You look at the defense, and last night they're pretty
That's
much
a cop
horrible.
out, Desmond. That's a cop out.
They're pretty much horrible on defense. When you look at their pass defense, Paul Malu and William Gay were not on the same page, and that alluded to Tom Brady having a big day in the air. As you see, Tom Brady had 30 of 43 for passing at 350 yards, which is outstanding for Tom Brady. But you really have to look at the injuries as well, because offensive line for the Steelers wasn't all the starters in there. You have Willie Clone, who's out for a couple of weeks, and then you have Max Starks, who's on the injured reserve. So you're having a lot of guys who aren't really familiar with playing with each other on that offensive line, and that had 5 sacks for Big Ben last night. So they really weren't able to get that offense running last night the way they wanted to.
Kelly, you need to pick one for me. Is it going to be the defense or is it going to be the injuries?
You know what? My opinion is the defense isn't that bad. I think the problem is with the injuries and having Smith and Kiesel missing. You know, it's really affecting them because they're such huge components. And if you look at past seasons without Smith, we've lost tremendously. And those games are crucial when Smith is in. And, you know, the big thing, too, is that teams are coming around and so good at sending out 4 and 5 receivers, which sends Troy in, and that's a huge thing now too, because Troy is such a huge component in the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I mean, if we take a look at the injuries, all of the injuries for the Pioneers, you look at that left side of the line, you're missing Starks, you're missing Kimuatu, who did not play last night. Clone's been gone all year and will be gone all year. Mm-hmm. Smith is out on the defensive end of the ball. Kiesel was out on the defensive end of the ball. Timmons was out last night too. I mean, this is just a beaten and broken team right now.
Yeah, you really have to look at this defense. Next week, they're going to get Kimuatu back for the offensive line. But they really just got to get that coaching strategy down. As you saw, Bill Belichick, they passed 73% of the time when they played the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it was really a good job by Bill Belichick to keep that stat going, because they were passing the ball a ton last night. But they really got to see Dick LeBeau has to get that defense back in store for next week as the Oakland Raiders come in town, because they want that pass defense to be a little bit better.
How big is it for these guys to step up, Kelly? You mentioned all the injuries, but these guys need to step up. Guys like Eason, right. Guys like Ziggy Hood, a first-round pick out of Missouri, and he's not being able to get pressure on the quarterback.
You know what? It is a big deal. They can't win and play like this. Like, they played vanilla. Simple as that. And it looked awful. But it comes down to the fact that the Steelers don't play well against the Patriots. You know, you look at past experiences. They're 6-1 against the Patriots. That's awful. So you know what? They need to have made these preparations ahead of time for this kind of a team. But for next week, you know, a lot of things need to change in those areas.
Do you see that it's any harm that the Browns are beating the team that the Steelers are going to play the previous week? We saw it a little bit earlier with New Orleans and now with New England.
I mean, it's kind of a slap in the face, because the Browns, we already beat them early in the season, and they beat the Patriots, and then they beat the New Orleans Saints. So they beat 2 teams that we lost to early in the season. And you don't want to see that happen for the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they're a much better team than the Cleveland Browns.
Do they bounce back against Oakland?
Yeah, I see them bouncing back, definitely.
Bouncing back against Oakland?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely bouncing back from both of these two. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much.